Belinda.
And I'm Joey.
And February was Black History Month, and we had to do a live Black History Month museum for Miss Vignola.
This gave us a chance to dress up like a famous historical black figure and learn a lot as well as teach a lot to other classes who were given a chance to intermingle with us. They'd sit around us as we gave our little speeches, and we'd have a slideshow on a PowerPoint. So it was really fun and
yeah, it was pretty
important experience. And here it is.
Hi, I'm Eldrick Woods, normally known as Tiger Woods, the professional golf player. I was born on October 30th, 1975 in Cypress, California. I went to Stanford University and joined the men's golf team from 1994 to 1996, which in 1996 I went professional and joined the PGA Tour, which is the Professional Golf Association. And during my years in the PGA Tour, I was crowned Player of the Year 8 times, and I was in 1997, 1999, 2000, 2002, 2003, 2004, 6, 7, and 8. I was also crowned the youngest person to ever win the Masters title, and the Masters title is a major championship in the PGA Tour, and that is always held in the first full week of April. Some things you may not know through research is that when I was younger, my favorite movie was Caddyshack, and my fondest memory as a kid was to play golf, ride my bike, and skateboard with my friends all the time. In 1996, which is when I went professional, me and my father set up a foundation called the Tiger Woods Foundation. And that was set up to inspire kids to never give up on their dreams and to always go for what they want to be. And the reason we set up this foundation is because when I was younger, I've always dreamed of becoming the world's best golf player, or at least one of the best. And because I never gave up on that dream, it became reality.
My name is Morganfield McKinley, aka Muddy Waters. I was born on April 4th, 1915, in Forks, Mississippi. My mom died when I was 3 years old, so I had to move with my grandma on the plantation in Clarksdale. While I was there, I learned how to play the harmonica. A couple years later, I switched from harmonica to guitar because I bought a harmonica. So I got the nickname Muddy because I used to play the blues down on the creeks and by the streams down my plantation, so they called me Muddy Waters. In 1943, I moved to Chicago, where I met Sonny Boy Williamson, who introduced me to Leonard Chess. I worked with Leonard Chess for a couple years making records. I had a couple hits like I Can't Be Satisfied and Hoochie Coochie Man. With Chess, I made a good 20 or so albums. I was one of the first African American people to have my music played on mainly white radio stations. I died on April 4th, 1983. I was 68 years old and I died of a heart attack in my sleep, so.
Hi, I am world-renowned supermodel Tyra Banks. I was born December 4th, 1973 in Englewood, California. When I was 17 years old, I got my first modeling job, taking some pictures for a couple of modeling agencies. After that, I moved on to runway for a couple of years. So after I was doing some runway up in Europe, I moved on to acting, TV shows. I did Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Soul Food, Felicity, American Dreams. After that, I got sort of bored, so I moved on to movies. I did movies such as Life Size, Coyote Ugly, 8 Crazy Nights. And I am currently in the new movie Tropic Thunder, cameo appearance. Very small, but I'm still in it. And I'm going to be in the new Hannah Montana movie coming out this year, so everyone go watch that. And I'm most famous for being the first African-American woman to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated Swimsuit Edition and the Victoria's Secret catalog. I signed on with Victoria's Secret. I walked for them for about 5 years. After I retired, I started my own production company called Bankable Productions. I have a couple of shows on there. One of them is my show, the Tyra Banks Show. The other one is America's Next Top Model, which is a very, very successful series, reality show, which I think right now we're going into our 12th season. It's going to come out actually this month. And my latest show is called True Beauty, which I executive produce with Ashton Kutcher.
I'm Bill Cosby. I was born July 12, 1937 in Philadelphia. Growing up, I was known as the class clown, and I was extremely into track and field. In 10th grade, I failed, and instead of repeating, I dropped out. I became a shoe repairman, but the job wasn't really for me, so I joined the Navy. in the Navy. I got my high school diploma and a scholarship to Temple University for track and field. A couple years there, I moved to New York City and became a stand-up comic. There, I met Carl Reiner, who got me a spot on the Ed Sullivan Show, which was really my big break. Then, I got a job on I Spy. I was one of the first African Americans to have a recurring role on a TV show. It was extremely fun. Then, I started The Cosby Show, which lasted several seasons, and most of those seasons was one of the #1 shows ever. It was extremely fun, and I loved it. It showed an African American family's day-to-day life in an upper middle class family, which was the first time an African American family has ever been shown in that light. Then I started Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids. You may have seen the show with the fat guy with the hey, 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 and all the good stuff. Well then, that show really taught children a valuable lesson about life each episode, and it really was for inner city kids. Then I wrote several books on fatherhood and life and all that good jazz and all that good stuff. And you may have seen my commercials for Puddin' and Puddin' Pops, which were very famous and fun. I love doing them. And I guess you could say I had a good life, you know. Have a wife, 5 loving kids. One was tragically shot though while changing a tire, which was extremely sad. And that's my life, basically.
My name is Sean Corey Carter. Most people know me as the business mogul and the best rapper alive, JayZ. You know, growing up, I was very underprivileged, so you know, I started to sell drugs when I was younger. But then, you know, that's still something I'm not proud of because I'm not embarrassed of it either. But you know, my parents really weren't around when I was younger, so I had to sell drugs to start really make it through. And then from there, people started calling me Jazzy. And then from Jazzy, I decided to shorten that name into JayZ. And that's my stage name and the one that I use now. Ever since I started rapping, I've got a chance to work with the best. And by the best, I mean the best artists ever, such as Beyonce, Lil Wayne, Kanye West, Phil Collins, producers from all around the world. I've been able to go all around the world. I've sold 35 million records. You know, I've been platinum numerous of times, only except for 2 of my albums. Oh man, I've had a chance to be nominated for 31 Grammys. I've won 7 of them, which is a lot for any artist. And I've been privileged not only because of being great in the rap industry and the music industry, I've been able to take my prowess into the business field. So I've been able to found my own clothing company, which is Rockaware Clothing. And I've also had my own liquor, Armalade Liquor. I've started the 4040 Club, which is a club in Atlantic City, and I have one in New York. I started mid of last year, and then I co-own the New Jersey Nets as well. My estimated net worth is, from Forbes is about $500 million, but Forbes really isn't known for accuracy, trust me. You know, in 2008, I made $82 million, which I was second on the Forbes list for hip-hop stars, and I've had a very, very privileged career. And through that, I've been able to not only make a lot of money, but I've also been able to give back. So I've started nonprofit organizations such as the Team Rock Foundation and also the Sean Carter College Scholarship Foundation to help anybody who really needs it.
I'm Halle Berry. I was born August 14th, 1966, to a white mother and a black father. My parents divorced when I was 4, so my mother raised me and my sister Haley. When I was little, people used to call me a zebra and leave Oreo cookies in my mailbox. When I told my mom, she said, "I'm white, you're black. What do you see when you look in the mirror?" No one knows that you're biracial. No one knows who your mom is. No one cares. When I was in high school, I was a cheerleader, prom queen, and class president. When I was 17, my boyfriend entered me in Miss Teen Ohio. I won. So then I entered myself in Miss Worlds, which I won the dress competition in. Then I entered myself in Miss Teen USA. I was first runner-up. In 1986, I went to Cahuga Community College in Cleveland, Ohio to study broadcast journalism. I decided I didn't like it, so I kind of quit and went to Chicago to study acting and become a model. My first acting debut was in a TV show called Living Dolls, and then another TV show called Knots Landing. I was the first African American to play the Queen of Sheba in Solomon and Sheba. A movie called Monsters Ball won me an Academy Award for leading actress, and that made me the first African American woman to win that award. I almost lost a role in a movie called Strictly Business because of my skin color. They thought I was too light, so they hired someone new and then decided that it was mistakes and rehired me. I'm the highest paid actress in Hollywood. I get $14 million a film.
Hi, I'm Diana Ross. I was born March 26, 1944 in Detroit, Michigan. At the age of 15, I started off in a singing group with my friends, the Primettes, and later we changed our name to the Supremes when we switched companies. In 1970, I went off for a solo career, and I started acting in movies. My first movie was Lady Sings the Blues. I was later cast as Dorothy in The Wiz, and I was in Double Platinum with Brandy. The movie Dreams Girls was loosely based off of the Supremes. A lot of the dresses you would see in the movie, either I would design or I wear because I am known for my dresses and my big hair. I've been married twice. I have 5 kids, and I've divorced both of my husbands. I wrote a book, When You Dream. It's a children's book, and I dedicated 4 of my songs to it. In 1993, I was named the most successful female singer by the Guinness Book of World Records. In 2007, I met with George Bush because he wanted to recognize the accomplishments I've made in life. And that's about it.
Hi, I'm Oprah Gail Winfrey. I'm most famous for my Oprah Winfrey show. A lot of people think I just keep my money. I make $2.5 million every show, but I give a lot of my money away to charities. I've opened up a school in Africa for young ladies. When it first opened, it didn't work out very well. I was kind of disappointed about everything that's going on, so I decided to fix the problems, and I made it a better school and reopened it this year.
Je m'appelle Josephine Baker. My birth name is Frida Josephine McDonald. My parents are Carrie McDonald and Eddie Carson. I was born June 3rd, 1906. Let's see. I was in the French Resistance, and I was a Red Cross nurse in World War II. I had 5 husbands, divorced the first 4, kept the 5th one up until I died. I adopted 12 children, all of different nationalities, to support the belief that no matter who you are or where you come from, you can live and prosper happily together as one family. I performed at age 69 in celebration of my 50-year career, fell into a coma a couple days later, and died of cerebral hemorrhage on April 12th, 1975.
I'm Muhammad Ali. I am the greatest boxer in the whole world. I'm the best heavyweight boxer. I am the greatest, and don't forget that. My name was originally Cassius Clay Jr. I was born in Louisville, Kentucky. I started fighting because this punk stole my bike when I was 12, and since then I started fighting because I wanted to beat him up. I want to get him back for what he did. So this man, Joe, he trained me since I was 12. He was so good. He taught me everything I know. He taught me how to move, how to duck, how to punch fast, how to float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. He was a good man. He was a good friend. He taught me everything I know. When I was 18, I won the best spot for me. I got a spot on the Olympic boxing team of the United States. I was so happy that year. I got the gold. Ooh, it was so nice. After that, my career just launched. I beat Henry in 1954. I knocked him out so nice. He started doing the Harlem Shake before he hit the ground. He's like this. Ugh. But it was fun. It was fun. It was a good run. It was a good run. After that, I had my first overseas fight in 1954 against Cooper. They said he was good, but he's a chump. He's still in his grave rattling because I beat him so hard. Anyway, I got a pink Cadillac in the back. If you want to see it, I still have that because it was my first car and the first car I bought for my mama because I love my mama. After being signed with Louisville fighting career, I beat so many kids. But I remember one fight, Joe Frazier. He was good. People say he was very good. I thought he wasn't that good, so I didn't train as hard, didn't box as hard, and for that, I got beat. And I know he was too good for me. But I came back and beat him 2 times. 2 times. I didn't let him rest. Then I started when I was around 24, I had a phase where I wanted to be different. So I joined the Nation of Islam. And I left my name, Cassius Clay, for Muhammad Ali. That same year, the government wanted me to fight the Viet Cong. You know what I said to them? I said, I ain't got no quarrel with them Viet Cong. Just for that, they banned me for 3 years from boxing. They took my titles. I couldn't box. I couldn't do anything. I thought I would die. So when I was away from exile, I started training because I didn't want to lose my flair. I didn't want to lose being the best of the best. So as soon as I came back, I fought Jerry Quaker. Bam! Right hook, he was out. And he was a young guy too. Means I'm still the best. I was still the best. Seeing that some of the old heads that I used to box with weren't as good, I started picking fights with the younger kids like Sonny. And I thought he was going to be a chump, something easy, some little pushover trying to hit me. Ooh, let me tell you, that young bull didn't see it coming. They said I was going to lose 7-1. I had him fighting until round 15, but he got me in the end. I thought he was going to be a chump, but he was too good. He was too fast. I moved, I did my thing, but he trained longer. Then, after boxing all those young kids, I thought, no more of this. 1960, I put the gloves down. When I was 39, I put the gloves down, retired, because I didn't want to get beat up like a boxing glove. I was so done. And a couple years after that, in 64, I got diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. It was a bad time for me. My hands started to shake. My memory started going. It was not a great time. But I had to fight it because I knew I was still the best and I was going to die being the best. So I started my own Muhammad Ali Center in Louisville, Kentucky. And there you can see all my awards. They named a flower after me because, you know, I'm so fly. I was beautiful, just like that flower. They named a street after me, which I thought that was beautiful because I came from Louisville, and for them to name a street for me, it was a great honor. I also had the honor of lighting the torch for the Olympics in 1966. And Will Smith, y'all kids probably know him. He did a documentary about me. At first he didn't want to do me. You know what I said to him? Don't think you can do me. You know why? Because you're not pretty enough. But after all that, I still am the greatest boxer in the world. Thank you very much.
Hello, I am Hank Aaron. I was born in Mobile, Alabama. I have 7 brothers and sisters. I played my high school baseball at Central High School in Mobile. I played third base and outfield, batted right, threw right. I also won the Negro High School League Championship 2 years in a row. At the age of 15, I tried out for the Brooklyn Dodgers. When I tried out for the Brooklyn Dodgers, I got cut, unfortunately. I got picked up by the Mobile Black Bears, though, earned $10 a game. At my age of 17, I got picked up by the Boston Braves. It was a major league team at that time. The Boston Braves later moved to Milwaukee and Atlanta, where they currently are today. The Atlanta Braves treated me very well. They gave me a really good contract worth $200, $200, a lot of money back then. When I got traded to the Milwaukee Brewers, I had hit 735 home runs in Atlanta, and that was a lot. I had the home run record because I hit my 715th home run off of Al Downing in LA. And that was important to me because I was in front of my fans, in front of everyone. And I loved playing baseball. So I got traded to Milwaukee Brewers. Milwaukee Brewers treated me well, hit my 755th and final home run there, and I retired as a Milwaukee Brewer, and they retired number 44 in my honor, which was special to me. And that 755th home run does not stand as the Major League record today. Barry Bonds broke that record just last year. I congratulate him for it and hope them well. I also now am still involved in baseball. I hold a high office in Major League Baseball, one of the first Negroes to do that. I hold the high office in player management for the Atlanta Braves, and I'm Hank Aaron.
I'm Arthur Ashe. I was born in 1943, started playing tennis when I was about 7 years old in 1950. I won the National Boys Tennis Championship when I was about 12 years old. And in high school, I kept with my grades along with tennis, and I got a scholarship to UCLA for tennis. We won the NCAA championship in tennis, and after I graduated, I was elected to the U.S. Davis Cup team, which is almost the equivalent of an Olympic team. And I was also elected the captain. I won 3 major titles in my tennis career. I won Wimbledon, the U.S. Open, and the Australian Open. And after I retired, I was elected into the Tennis Hall of Fame in 1985. And after I retired, I also was having heart problems, so I had to have a quadruple bypass. And there was a botched blood transfusion, which I contracted AIDS from. So I tried to keep that secret along with my family. And about 7 years later, the USA Today newspaper found out about it and was going to report it. So I just decided to come out and tell people on my own about my disease so that a newspaper didn't have to report it. And afterwards, I started 2 AIDS foundations to help fund research and possibly a cure for AIDS. And I also started a tennis foundation for underprivileged youth so that they could help them with their academics and help them if they wanted to learn how to play tennis so that they could also go to like a good school and have a good life. And I later died in 1993 of AIDS-related pneumonia.
Rosa Parks, I was born February 4th in 1913 in Alabama. I am most commonly known for refusing to give up my bus seat to a white passenger. I became an international icon against racial segregation. I became important in the modern civil rights movement. I organized and collaborated with Martin Luther King Jr. himself, which gave him a lot of publicity. I was enrolled in the Montgomery Industrial Academy for Girls when I was only 11 years old. My teachers encouraged me to take advantage of the opportunities that I had because there were very few and they just wanted me to make the most of my life. Growing up, I had very few civil rights. I was often afraid to sleep at night because the Ku Klux Klan would burn down houses in my neighborhood. I think it's my fear that motivates me to stand up for the rights of myself and for others. I ended up working for U.S. Representative John Conyers, who is also African American. I stayed at that job for a while, and then I retired and moved to Detroit, where I died at the age of 92.
Hey, I'm Prince. I was born in Minneapolis, Minnesota on June 7th, 1958. I was the youngest performer on the Warner Brothers album in 1978, being only 19 years old. I'm most known for my very controversial lyrics and my songwriting. My songs such as Controversy, Dirty Mind, and so on. I was also in my own semi-autobiographical film, Purple Rain. And as I said before, it was a semi-autobiographical film of my life, which was in 1984. In 1993, I declared myself the love symbol, which no one could pronounce. So I became the artist formerly known as Prince. But later on, I rechanged my name to Prince and named myself Prince once again. And I still continue to be in the music business. I still write songs, still have albums out. I just recently came out with Indigo Nights in 2008. And I wrote songs for Tevin Campbell, Sheena Easton, and also I wrote Slave for You, which was performed by Britney Spears. And that wraps up my life. I rock.
I'm Maya Angelou. I was born on April 4th in 1928. I was born in St. Louis, Missouri. But a couple years later, when I was 3 years old, my parents got divorced, and so I had to move with my paternal grandmother in Stamps, Arkansas. I got a chance to visit my grandmother when I was 7 years old in Chicago, but I got raped, and I didn't know what to do, so I told my brother Bailey. He told one of my uncles, and one of my uncles ended up going after my attacker. He killed my attacker successfully, and I found out in the news. But I felt devastated because I felt like my words had killed the attacker. And so I fell silent, and I stopped talking for about 5 years. During the meantime, my mother had a friend named Bertha Flowers, and she would read poetry to me, and that's when I fell in love with poetry. But it's also what motivated me to speak again, because the only way to appreciate poetry is vocally. And so I started speaking again fluently when I was 13 years old. At the time, I moved to San Francisco, California with my mother. But a couple years later, when I was 16 years old, I got pregnant with my first and only son, Guy. I ended up dropping out of high school, but later on I returned to high school knowing that I would need my education. Those were my early years. My career started when I was a nightclub singer, and I was at the time married to Tosh Angelo. And a couple years later, our marriage had failed, so that didn't really work out, but my singing career had blasted off. I was touring Europe, and I ended up touring Europe by 1955 with the Porgy and Bess opera production, so that was pretty good. Later on, I got to work with Malcolm X when I moved to Ghana, and we ran into him. And we came up with plans so we could help African American unity, and we were going to establish the Organization of African American Unity in the United States. But when we traveled back, Malcolm X got assassinated shortly after. Later on, I got to work with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and we became pretty close. And we worked on the Civil Rights Act movement, and sooner or later he got assassinated, and that devastated me because it landed on my birthday in 1968. I didn't know what to do, so my friend James Baldwin, a novelist colleague of mine, he told me that I should write, and that's when I wrote and published my first book, I Know Why a Caged Bird Sings. It became a big hit and was a really huge bookseller. Those were basically all. I had many more careers, but those were in other years and such. And even till today, I'm still living. I'm about 80 years old now, and I don't know if Dr. Martin Luther King's dream came true, but we got to work for it, and that's all I have to say.
Fellow Americans. No, it's fine. My name is Barack Obama, and I was born in Honolulu, Hawaii in 1961, August 4th, I think it was. My mother's Caucasian, and my father's Kenyan. So he's very, very black. I was born at the Kapiolani Medical Center for Women and Children. And 3 years after my parents had me, they got divorced. And that's where my father moved back to Kenya and died in a fatal car accident. Leaving me to live with my mother all the way up until college, where I went to the University of Columbia and later went to Harvard Law School, where I became the first black president of the Harvard Law Review. After that, I tried a variety of different things to see where I would go career-wise. I was a lawyer, and I was a community organizer in Chicago, Illinois, where I was the junior senator of Illinois. After a few years, in 2004, I appealed for a seat in the United States. Wait. No. In 2004, I had a bid for a chair in the House of Representatives. That's what it was. But I was turned down. Oh. I stand for hope and prosperity for all Americans, not just the rich ones. I like to think of myself as a modern-day Martin Luther King, and that I inspire people, and that I'm a revolutionary. I have a beautiful family. I have a wife, Michelle. We were married in 1992, and my two beautiful daughters, Sasha and Malia, who were born 1998 and 2001. I'm known to my family as a very hard worker, and to my racial community as a revolutionary.
My name is Jimi Hendrix. I was born November 27th, 1942, and I died September 18th, 1970 from a drug overdose in a London hotel. I am important in Black history because I was the first person to successfully capture the sound of the electric guitar, and I was said to create the psychedelic sounds of the 1960s.
A little bit about myself. I grew up in Marcy Projects, Brooklyn, New York. Over there I started rapping, got discovered. Tried to get signed, nobody wanted to sign me, so I started my own record label. I got Rockefeller Records. After that I dropped my first album, Reasonable Doubt. It was a big hit. As a rapper, I'm known as Hove, Hova, JayZ, Jigga Man, Jazzy, all that good stuff. I got after I started rapping, I kind of cooled down a little bit, started some businesses up. I got Rockefeller Films. I got Rockefeller Records, Rockaware, my clothing line. It's available in Japan, U.S., South America, Europe. So that's been a big hit. I also have my 40/40 Club. It's an elite sports bar over in Brooklyn where I grew up. It's a place where you can relax. I'm also a part owner of the New Jersey Nets. I'm planning on moving them over to Brooklyn though, so they'll be known as the Brooklyn Nets, I guess. We're not sure yet, but I also got I like to give back, so I give back to my community with my charities. I got the Team Rock charity. That's just an overall, giving back. I also got the Sean Carter Scholarship Fund. Where I grew up, a lot of kids, they don't have an opportunity with their education to, achieve higher. So, helping them out with that is a good thing, I also got the JayZ toy drive. During Christmas time, I like to give back because it's a tough time around where I grew up during that time, helping the parents out and all. But, and also, I married Beyonce, so that's a big plus, I guess.